Hello and welcome to Hops and Bros. This week,
We're actually focusing ourselves on taste buds. Is it taste buds? No.
For an open window on a crafty world. Max and Chris from Ups and Brews. Ups and Brews. Welcome to Ups and Brews.
Okay.
So this week we're looking at tasting beer. Not only the technique to be able to appreciate the flavors of the beer, but also different reasons why you would have a tasting panel and how it can help your brewery or help your better understanding the beer.
Yeah. I think it's a funny subject that you not come up with, but it's cool to dive a little bit deeper into this because we do drink beers often on the show. We talk about beers, but we never really go through the process of tasting a beer properly. And
No, exactly.
just knowing the little steps and make it a special events every single time you're drinking a beer will make every single beer you're drinking a lot more enjoyable every time. And will make you a better beer
Yeah,
drinker
definitely.
in the end. Do you want me to start off with a few steps that we go through?
Go for it, Chris.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah,
So, as every single beer tasting going, it always starts with a nice, perfect pour. So we already talked about it, and there's no really. I think our first video was us with a drill equipped with a spoon on top,
Yeah,
and
true.
we were That was bad. That was very bad.
I believe that spoof was how to take the perfect Instagram picture, I think.
Yeah, so it's not related at beer tasting, but it's actually important because you need to pour with the nice head on top. What will happen is releases a lot more aromas through the beer, but also you'll see if there's any defects for the first step, which is look. Take a look at your beer, see the head retention on top, see how the color looks like, if it's oxidized or not. But after that, swirl it around. It's something I do a lot if you watch me drinking beers on Hops and Bros. I got very bad comments on that a couple of years ago, like stop swirling your beer, you stupid hipster or not or whatnot. But it's actually important because it agitates the beer, pulls out more aromas, and you create a second kind of like swirl with the carbonation going on in the beer. Am I doing this right, Max, on my end? Or I'm putting my feet in my mouth?
No, it's not necessarily wrong, but it is true that by swirling it, especially with carbonated beverages, you're actually releasing a lot of the aroma. So what I would probably do is smell it first, and then if you want to swirl it after, and then smell it again, because you will unleash a lot of different aromas from that. In the sense that your initial smell, you'll have the sulfur, you'll have kind of the immediate or aromatic particles. With your swirl, now you're releasing the secondary particles of aroma in your beer. So it's good to have kind of an initial feel for it before you start swirling.
So smell first, then agitate it, then smell again. So the agitate part should be a 3-part thing. It's a lot more clearer when I look at the part.
In there too?
Yeah,
There's
it's
an agitate
not.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
And agitate's the first one?
Yeah, it's
Fun,
second
that's
one.
Weird. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at my computer screen in the back.
Yeah, but if you guys want to see this specific kind of like panel slide, we'll put the link in the description. It's actually from, I forgot the website. It's Beer Advocate that has this description made. So no worries with that. But number 3, we're already talking about it, smell. This is where like most of the tasting aspect takes place. You'll get plenty of aromas depending on the beer, straight up of the smell. Sometimes directly from cracking open the bottle or the can. And then you finish it with a nice taste. And I would recommend to swirl around your mouth before swallowing. Taking good deep breath will open up those nice aromas in your, I don't know where it is, but it's not your nose, it's like inside your nose, like right there. I don't know what's the specific word for it, but I do feel that it creates a whole other experience when you do it properly.
So to add to that, as you are initially smelling, and then you take your first sip. Yeah, as you were saying, the swirl in your mouth and whatever, it is going to release more aromas as well. So what I would probably do is you take one sip to cleanse your palate, and then take a second sip, a bigger one, and then swirl it around and really experience it. But it's a little, I guess, as you're tasting, as you're drinking beer, you kind of figure it out. And these techniques are mostly for analyzing your beer, analyzing the product that's in front of you. You can use it for more than just beer, but it's not a Saturday at the beach with the boys kind of thing. You don't want to use it there. You've got to know when to use these techniques. For us, it's kind of on a daily basis because that's what we do. But again, it's situational.
Do you find yourself like just doing the whole tasting routine on your orange juice in the morning or your coffee sometimes?
Oh, definitely. Like most of me drinking a beverage is smelling it first and then drinking it, but it's not the norm. And so first class of sensory, our teacher walks in and says, it's a blue pill or red pill situation where if you decide to keep on going with the program, you're going to see things a lot differently than most people, because we do analyze every single flavor that we start consuming. Now, not only beer, but a lot of that class was just go and grab, 5 different fruits that you haven't had in a while and then analyze them and try to describe those flavors without actually using the fruit in there, which was extremely hard until we got to ginger. And that's when I discovered that ginger is basically mostly lemony, but also earthy and mushroom-like. Which is kind of, until you actually eat ginger, you don't know. You decide it's ginger flavor. No, there's more to it. And same thing when you're analyzing citrus fruit. There's other ways of describing those fruits and other ways of describing them in beer.
It's also something we taught about on the show. Instead of we already talked about hops and all that for 101s, but bringing in actual fruits like banana 101 or grapefruit 101. I'm not a fan of eating grapefruit, but I love it when it's in beer. So maybe me sitting down having actual grapefruit will improve my capacities to find the taste, but also in a near future when doing home brews with Max or talking with Max about brewing in general, being able to describe what flavors you're looking at or what flavor you're looking into your beer at the same time. So it's something we're already talking about for the Hops and Bros show, but yeah.
It's a good segue towards the actual subject I wanted to talk today about, which is not just tasting the individual product, but tasting in general. When you're a brewery and you have to analyze a product and is it good? Are people liking it? Or what are the differences? So there's 2 big ways to do this. The first couple tests that you can do on a tasting panel is just a go, no go, or is this beer good or is this beer not so good? Do I like it? Do I not like it? By doing that with enough people, you end up figuring out if the beer is worth continuing, but you don't get a lot of feedback on what people like and what people don't like. That's where QDAs come in, or quality controls, where you have a panel and they go deeper into the flavors and deeper into these techniques. So the first set of like or dislike, you pick your group, you have them try a beer, they like it, they don't, it's perfectly fine, doesn't matter why or what. And at that point, even having in a situation or having and I go back to the example of having your bros at the beach for a day, lagers are going to be awesome that day, and it's okay to do a panel there to see if people like it or don't like it, because it's a beer you're trying to sell for that particular situation, a particular event, so it can work really, really well. But as soon as you ask them why and what flavors they have, they might not be able to analyze it as much. That's when you want them in a more secluded area and being more concentrating on the flavors.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it looks like the marketing aspect of it that kind of pairs with the actual product development aspect of the beer itself, because you want on the marketing side of things to see where it fits in the environment, in a specific environment, and on the beer development side, you want people to be not influenced by the environment, to be focused specifically on the beer. Not
yeah,
bad.
no, it's a good concept. Cool. And all that came about by my teacher today, who asked us if brewers were good at detecting off flavors, and the whole class said yeah. But in reality, we're not. Beer drinkers in general are terrible at getting off flavors like the acetal, DMS, and sulfur and different things. And that's part of the reasons why we like beer, because we're not sensitive to those flavors. So it's kind of weird where you're doing your threshold tasting to see if you can. Brewers are not sensitive, and when you're trying to train the palate of a brewer, it's kind of hard because we're not sensitive to it. So we have to kind of not necessarily cheat our way through it, but we've got to work the extra step to be able to detect all that.
Yeah.
Compared to some people who are just very sensitive and they tend to stay clear of beer. Anyways, that's what I got.
It's a very interesting subject. I think that there's a lot more to it than just that video that we just did, and having to dive into specific off flavors, but also fruits, like we said. I think we're long due to probably make like a fruit salad video where we just sit down, me and you, just tasting different fruits. That would be dope. I think it would be cool.
It'd be important, man. That's the way you develop your palate, especially when it comes to those fruity IPAs.
Oh, yes.
So if you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Eat more fruits or veggies. It's good for your health.